We all kind of have that checklist for career advancement, don't we? You know, the skills list. Learn Python, get better presentations, network more, build a portfolio.
Right, the usual suspects.
And look, those things, they absolutely matter. They're the building blocks, for sure. But if that's all you focus on, treating career growth like just gathering more tasks or certificates, well, you're probably going to hit a ceiling eventually. It feels like it misses something deeper.
It really does. And what's interesting is that the people who seem to plateau versus those who, shoot up quickly, often they have pretty similar technical skills.
Right. It's not always about who's the best coder or the slickest presenter.
Exactly. The real differentiator isn't some hidden technical trick or even like raw brain power. It's more fundamental. It's about how they think about problems, their work, their place in the whole thing.
Okay.
We're really talking about the compound effect here. Small shifts in your thinking, done consistently, can totally change your trajectory. It's not just about doing more.
All right, let's dig into that. What's the first big mental shift we need to make? I'm thinking about that sort of junior instinct.
Yeah, the survival mode.
Exactly. When you start out, you're focused on your tasks, doing them right, and honestly just trying not to mess up.
Totally natural. You narrow your view, keep your head down.
But that safety zone, it limits your growth, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So how do we move past that? How do you start thinking like an owner, even when you're, an employee just doing your job?
It really boils down to the questions you ask yourself, day in, day out.
Okay.
So the person stuck in that executor mode, they're asking, how do I get this specific task done correctly and on time? It's very focused, very contained.
Right, task-oriented.
But the person shifting to an owner mindset asks something different. They ask, okay, this task, how does it connect to what the business really needs right now? What's the actual goal here? Or even, is this the most valuable thing I could be doing with my time?
So the scope immediately gets wider. You're zooming out from just your to-do list.
Way wider. Instead of defining yourself by a job title, I'm the analyst, I'm the designer, you start asking, what important problems are falling through the cracks right now? What challenges can I step up and solve? Maybe things others aren't even seeing yet.
That feels like a big leap, though. Is it about working crazy hours? Because thinking like an owner can sound like, taking on everything.
That's a common misconception. It's not primarily about more effort, it's about smarter effort. It's perspective and leverage.
Okay, explain that.
Take the designer example. The junior designer might obsess over making the screens pixel perfect, following the style guide to the letter.
That's good execution, right?
Yeah.
Valuable.
Sure, quality matters.
But the designer who gets promoted faster, their focus shifts. They're still delivering quality, but their questions are different. They're asking, how does this screen design impact user behavior? What does it do for our conversion rates? Does this actually align with the company's big strategic goals for this quarter?
So they're connecting the dots between their work and the business outcome. Precisely. The value difference isn't just in their ability to use the design software. It's the scope of the problem they're engaging with. They're investing your time where it creates more strategic impact, not just completing the immediate task.
Got it. They're defining their role by the problems they solve, not just the tasks they're given. Which actually leads perfectly into the next point, doesn't it? This ambition, this drive to solve bigger problems. It often runs headfirst into, reality.
Oh, absolutely. The frustrating reality of work sometimes.
Yeah, like vague instructions from your manager, or not getting the recognition you feel you deserve, or, unexpected roadblocks messing up your perfect plan.
And the natural reaction is frustration, right? Maybe complaining, feeling stuck. But that frustration, while understandable, it's really unproductive. It just burns energy.
So shift 2 is about dealing with that reality. Is it just like accepting things are bad? Because that sounds kind of passive.
Not at all. It's not passive resignation. Accepting reality is more like active acknowledgement. It's seeing the situation for what it actually is right now so you can work with it or around it effectively.
Okay, active acknowledgement. I like that.
It means figuring out, okay, what parts of this can I influence and what parts are just constraints I need to navigate? And by accepting those constraints, you free up all that mental energy you were wasting fighting them.
Can you give an example? How does that energy shift play out?
Sure. Let's take the vague direction from the manager. The person fighting reality might stress about it, complain to colleagues, wait passively for more clarity that might never arrive.
Yeah, I've seen that happen. Or done it myself.
Right. But the person accepting reality thinks, okay, the direction is vague. That's the current situation. They then channel that energy, the energy saved from stressing, into action. Like asking really specific, targeted questions to force clarity. Or maybe proposing a concrete approach. How about we try this? Or even building a quick prototype to make the discussion more tangible. They move from being stuck in frustration to actively solving the problem of vagueness using the imperfect information they have.
Okay, so acceptance fuels action. It doesn't prevent it.
Exactly. And this acceptance is also key to understanding how value actually works in most organizations. A lot of ambitious people get tripped up because they're fighting the basic rules of the game.
What kind of rules?
Well, rules about how value is typically recognized and rewarded. They might expect rewards based purely on effort or hours put in, but the reality usually is different.
So what are those fundamental rules we kind of need to accept?
There are a few core ones. First, money and resources tend to flow to people who solve valuable problems. Things that make money, save money, reduce significant risk.
Makes sense. Value delivered.
Second, promotions often go to people who consistently make their boss's life and their team's life easier. People who are reliable, proactive, anticipate needs.
The go-to person.
Right. And third, recognition generally follows results that matter to the organization, not just activity or tasks completed. If you understand and accept these as the operating principles, you can navigate your career much more effectively than if you're constantly fighting them because you think it should work differently.
That's a powerful reframe. It turns frustration into just feedback that you might not be aligned with the rules yet.
Exactly. It's learnable.
Okay, so mindset shift 1, owner thinking. Shift 2, accept reality, work within the rules. But even then, we're human. Some days you're on fire, ready to tackle anything. Other days, scrolling social media feels way more appealing. Willpower isn't exactly reliable, is it?
Not at all. It's notoriously fickle. And that brings us straight to the third shift. You can't rely on willpower alone. Smart people don't just try harder. They build systems.
Systems.
Like routines. Routines are part of it, yeah. But it's broader. It's about deliberately designing your environment and your processes so that the good choices, the productive choices become easier, maybe even automatic, and the bad choices become harder.
Making the desired path the path of least resistance.
You got it. It's about reducing friction for the things you want to do and adding friction for the things you don't. So instead of relying on sheer discipline to ignore distracting websites...
You use a blocker app during work hours.
Exactly. That's a system. Or if you struggle with getting started on complex tasks, maybe you create templates. Templates for common reports, emails, project kickoffs. It removes the where do I start decision fatigue.
Automating the setup.
Right. It preserves your mental energy for the actual hard thinking. Scheduling your most important deep work for when your energy is naturally highest. That's another system.
And you mentioned action triggers. That sounds really specific.
Yeah, they're incredibly powerful. They're basically predefined if-then rules for your behavior. You make the decision when you're calm and thinking clearly, so you don't have to rely on making the right call in the moment when you're tired or stressed or tempted to procrastinate.
Can you give some concrete examples?
Sure. Like, if it's 9 a.m. on Monday, then I immediately spend 15 minutes reviewing my priorities for the week. No debate, you just do it. Or if someone gives me constructive feedback, then I write down 3 specific actions I can take based on it.
So it bypasses that emotional reaction to feedback sometimes.
It can help, yeah. It channels it into action. Another one. If I feel stuck on a problem for more than 20 minutes, then I take a 5-minute break and walk away before coming back. It builds in a circuit breaker.
You're essentially programming your future self to make better choices automatically.
That's a great way to put it. Over time, these small, automated, rule-based actions compound. They build consistency and reliability that willpower alone just can't match.
And that consistency, that reliable action, it must feed directly into the next shift, right? The one about learning and growth.
Absolutely. Shift 4 is all about cultivating active teachability and understanding leverage. This is where the growth really starts to accelerate, becomes nonlinear.
Define active teachability. It sounds like more than just being willing to learn.
It is. Many people are passively open to feedback if it comes their way. Active teachability is different. It's aggressively seeking out information, perspectives, and feedback that challenge your current way of doing things.
Even if it's uncomfortable.
Especially if it's uncomfortable. It means asking questions that might make you feel a bit ignorant in the short term because you know the answers will make you smarter in the long term. It's prioritizing learning over looking smart right now.
But that's hard. Our instinct is often to protect our ego. right? Avoid looking like we don't know something.
Totally. That's the defense mechanism. The shift is to reframe feedback entirely. Instead of seeing it as a judgment on you or your past work, you see it as pure fuel. Free intelligence to help you improve.
So teachable people don't just wait for the annual review.
Heck no. They're constantly asking. They might ask their manager, what's one thing I'm doing well that I should keep doing? And what's one thing I should stop doing immediately to have a bigger impact? They ask successful colleagues, how did you approach X? Can you show me? They actively study what works.
They're basically treating their career like a skill to be mastered through constant learning loops.
Exactly. And that creates a learning speed that just compounds like crazy, which ties directly into this idea of leverage and why linear thinking about careers often falls short.
Yeah, talk about that. Most people think of salary progression as like climbing a ladder, step by step, small increases each year.
Right. But value creation, especially at higher levels, often isn't linear at all. It can be exponential. Your time is fixed to only 24 hours in a day. If your impact is limited to just what you can do with your own two hands in that time, your value is capped.
So you need leverage.
You absolutely need leverage. Leverage is how you multiply your impact without multiplying your hours worked. It's about finding ways for your effort to benefit more people or solve bigger problems.
How do you create that leverage in practice?
There are a few key ways. One is through process. Can you figure out a complex task and document it so well that 10 other people can now do it effectively without your direct help? That's leverage.
Okay, scaling through systems.
Another is through tools. Can you build something, maybe a simple script, a template, a small piece of software that saves multiple people time or effort every single week? That's leverage.
Automating value for others.
And the third is through insight. Can you develop an analysis, a strategic perspective that helps leaders make a much bigger, more impactful decision correctly? Guiding a major investment, for instance. That's huge leverage.
And I guess the owner mindset we talked about earlier naturally pushes you to look for these leverage points, right? An executor just does the report. An owner thinks about automating the report.
Perfectly said. The owner mindset is constantly scanning for opportunities to multiply impact. And one other point on value, it's really important to understand how much your skills might be worth in a different context.
What do you mean?
People often undervalue their skills because they only see them within their current job or company, but skills have different market values. Maybe the project management skills you learned organizing volunteers for a tiny nonprofit are incredibly valuable and highly paid at a big tech company managing vendor contracts.
Or a side hobby, like teaching something complex, could become the basis for well-paid consulting.
Exactly. Don't anchor your value just to where you are now. Be aware of the potential value in different environments.
Okay, this is brilliant. Let's try and tie it all together. These 4 shifts, owner mindset, accepting reality, building systems, teachability, and leverage, they don't work in isolation, do they?
Not at all. They feed each other. It's a compounding cycle.
How does that cycle work?
Well, the owner mindset makes you look beyond your tasks and start understanding the rules of reality, what the business actually values. Accepting that reality frees up the mental energy you were wasting on frustration. You then invest that energy into building systems that automate good choices and free up even more time and mental space.
Right.
And that freed up capacity, combined with an attitude of active teachability, lets you learn and adapt much, much faster, which in turn helps you spot and create those high leverage opportunities that deliver non-linear value. It becomes a virtuous upward spiral.
So the people who seem to advance really quickly,
Yeah.
it's not magic. It's that they've tuned their internal operating system, their thinking patterns, for growth.
That's the core of it. They treat obstacles as data, not drama. They build habits through systems, not just willpower. They stay curious and actively seek out better ways, and they focus relentlessly on creating the kind of value that gets noticed and rewarded.
And the really powerful thing for anyone listening, I think, is that these aren't huge external changes you need permission for.
Absolutely not. This is all internal work. You can start adjusting your thinking today. You can decide to ask one owner-type question in your next meeting. You can identify one small, repetitive task and build a simple system or action trigger for it this week.
It's not about waiting for the perfect job or the perfect boss.
No. The compound effect starts with the very next small, consistent shift you make in how you approach your work and your learning. That's where the exponential growth truly begins.